Hey everyone, it's Michelle Fawcett, the Dreaming Dilettante, coming out to you with a new series of videos called Make Stuff Mondays. And I am going to be sharing with you today how to make this holiday card. Now, it could be for Christmas, it could be just a New Year's card or anything. I used this sentiment on it. Merry everything, so it kind of covers any holiday that you might be celebrating around this time of year. And it's a super simple card. If you're making a bunch, this is definitely a card that you're gonna want to make, and it doesn't require a whole bunch of stamp sets or tools, just a few things that you're gonna need. The first thing that you're going to want is, this is called the Sleigh Ride, I don't know if you can see that here, Sleigh Ride Edgelets from Stampin' Up. And I'll link to all this stuff in the blog post, and you can find the blog post linked in the description below. But you have to see how cute these little edgelets are that come in the kit. So you have the houses, which is the one that I used here on the card. And then you have the sleigh rider. And then you also have in here, I'm trying to find it, there it is. And then you also have this, the trees. So there's a lot that you can do with this. You could alternate them out each time. I'm going to show you how I made this card here. It's super, super simple. To start off, all you need is a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. I used an 8.5 by 11 sheet of the Night of Navy, and then I just trimmed it in half. So it's now 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half, and that's your card base. The next thing I did was I took, and I'm skipping over actually pulling out my big shot and everything, because just to save time, and you know, it's a little boring to watch me run something through the big shot. But what I did was, you want to take your piece of paper, and I'm just going to grab a random piece of cardstock here, and you can just eyeball it wherever you think it's going to look the best. So you might want to lay it like that and run that right through your big shot. Now, my piece of Whisper White cardstock that I used measured the exact same as the base. I did 5.5 by 4.25. So you want to have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's at least the, what did I say here? I just said it, 5.5 by 4.25. So 5.5, 4.25, and you want to make sure that it measures for at least that. Run that through your big shot, and what you're going to get is these two pieces. So you have this piece, which is the cutout part of the houses, and this piece. So obviously this is what we use on the front, but you don't want to throw this piece out. I'm going to show you the cool thing that we're going to do with that as well. So now I'm going to show you how you make these cool snowflakes. The stamp set that I'm using is called Jingle All the Way, and it's got a lot of really cute and little stamp sets here. So much you could do, really a lot that you could do with this. You can use for Sentiment Silent Night. I use the Merry Everything, Home for Christmas, or Jingle All the Way, whatever works for you. And all you're going to need is, you're going to want your embossing buddy, and I recommend going over the whole card, especially if you're going to be making a bunch of these, only because it really sticks. You can see it on the inside here. So you want to take your embossing buddy and just go over the whole part of the card. Okay. And then I'm taking my Versamark, and the stamp that we're using from the Jingle All the Way is this one here. This is the little snowflakes here. And you want to use a light touch. So you want to ink up your stamp, and then just do a real light touch. And what's nice is that when you use the embossing buddy, I'm going to put it this way so I don't go on the back here. When you use the embossing buddy, it actually helps so that you can see a little bit better. And you probably can't see any of this, and I apologize, on the camera. But it helps you see a little bit better where you're putting the Versamark. Now you want to use a light touch. I tried this one out a couple times. If you push too hard or you rock the stamp too much, you're going to get a line. And it's not really the end of the world if you do it only like once or so. It actually looks like swirling snow. But just in case, there we go. So I just randomly stamped all over. And then I'm going to take the white embossing powder. And let me get my piece of paper here for it. So you just want to, if you're new to embossing, you just want to make sure you have a bigger piece of scrap paper And then you can be very generous because this just goes right back in the tube. Or container or tub, whatever you want to call it. Alright. And then you just dump this right out. And you can see here what I'm talking about. I'm standing as I'm doing this, which I don't normally do. But you see the little lines there. Now you can go through and brush them out if you want. I'm not too worried about it because when it all melts in, it's going to look like swirling snow. So it's really not that critical. But I just wanted to point that out in case you don't like that effect. I wanted to just let you know. I'm just going to pour this back in my tub. And you can see you still have plenty left. Put the lid back on that. If you're listening with headphones or if you're have your volume turned way up, I'm going to be using my heat gun, so you might want to turn that down a little bit for a second. There we go. And this is just going to melt all the embossing powder together and give you that snow effect. And what's really nice is that if you're not happy with how it came out, you can go back and touch up little sections and things like that. But that's one of the nice things. It's snow, so it doesn't have to look perfect. Just go through and melt all that really well. Okay. So that's it. And as I said, I'm going to sit now, but I was standing as I did that part, and I don't normally stand when I stamp, so got a little away from me there, but it still looks really, really great. Cut that out. So then I'm going to just take our Night of Navy ink pad here, straight down, straight up. Okay. And then that's just going to get attached right here. So I'm going to take my snail adhesive here, which is apparently out. Out. Alright, so I'm going to I'll grab my ATC gun for right now. Okay. So there's my ATC gun I'm just using. Since I can't find my other snail, I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I really should pan around and show you guys my craft area because it is horrible. I've been creating all day, like for projects, and it's wow, it's bad. I'd love to see if anybody can create, or I'd love to see the space of people who create and keep everything neat. I'm wondering if they're out there. I'm sure they are, but it is not me. All right, so you're going to adhere that down, and if you see what I meant, so it looks like swirling snow. So don't beat yourself up too much if when you're doing your stamping it's a little scattered, because remember, snow isn't these perfect circles anyway. So it's fine, but you can always, of course, redo it if you felt the need. But for me, I think this looks like a nice whirling snowstorm. So now, if you remember, I told you that we have the reverse here, and you want to, or the cutout portion. So we don't want to get rid of that. What you can do is on the inside, and what I did was I flipped it. So here's where the houses were here. I'm just going to make sure I'm still in frame here. Yeah. So this is where the houses were, and then I just flipped it and attached it inside here. And then that is where you can write your message. You could stamp another sentiment inside if you wanted. I always like to include a little bit of a handwritten message in cards. I just feel like it adds a bit of a personal touch, or at least address it to whoever it's going to and sign our names. But now on the inside, you have that effect. Isn't that cool? I love this card. I think it's such a fun, easy card to make, and you saw how quickly it went together. Taking out a little bit for the cutting. I mean, it's really an easy card. So if you have a bunch to make, this is a nice card. 2 stamp sets. I'll put all the details in the blog for what I used to make this. So just click on the description below, and I'll you'll get all the details for how to make this card, including measurements and everything like that. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel where I do all kinds of creative projects. And I hope that you'll join me next week on Make Stuff Mondays. Have a great day, guys.